You're with Julian on the brown note, and voice-wise, I'll try and get through this movie review before it goes completely. A review of the very recently released Black Bag, which has been very quickly put onto streaming. Steven Soderbergh as a director has had an incredible career, often with strange jinx here and there. Like, he made his name for Sex, Lies and Videotape, and didn't really have a big film for 8 years after that. Nothing that really cut through to the same way. And then he came out with Out of Sight, which was the template for the Ocean's 11 movies, which was an incredible thing, very stylistically great. The Limey is an underappreciated film, and then he did an incredible run of movies, Erin Brockovich, Traffic and Ocean's 11, which were all huge critical and commercial successes. And then it's been all over the shop ever since. Contagion has become, the de facto COVID movie, which is a disturbingly accurate depiction of a lot of the things that happened. But then he turns up as the director of Magic Mike, the male stripper film, which he just recently did another one for. And Black Bag is his most recent release, and he's complained about the fact that it did so poorly at the box office, because it's only done under 40 million at the box office, and it cost about 60 million. And he has basically said that people over the age of 25 won't go out and see films like this anymore, even though it's got 96% on Rotten Tomatoes and a pretty big cast as well, particularly Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett and Naomi Harris and Pierce Brosnan, and great reviews. And it just failed at the box office, although it will likely be the kind of film that people will watch for years on streaming. But so this is it's kind of like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It's definitely got the John le Carré sort of vibe, and it's about a mole in British intelligence, but it's done very much in a almost pop culture style of more reminiscence to the Out of Sight, Oceans sort of vibe. It's not as serious in tone as something like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And you get Michael Fassbender, who's married to Cate Blanchett in one of the most interesting marriages. Like, Cate Blanchett doing a posh English Secret Service agent like this, who wields enormous power, is just such perfect casting. The problem I have with Michael Fassbender in this movie is I actually really like The Killer that came out a couple of years ago from an analogous director to Steven Soderbergh, David Fincher. It's quite close a character to that film. He's brilliant. But I just remember thinking how close these two characters are. Basically, they find out that there's a mole in their organisation, and it's one of 6 people. And Michael Fassbender is this, like, bloodhound. And he's given the list of people and told one of them's your wife. And it sort of semi-starts, like, after about 20 minutes, where they have this dinner party. And he tells his wife that, I've put some psychedelic drugs into the dinner for everyone else, so don't eat the chimichurri or whatever it was. So he can get some groundwork on these people to try and trigger them into not necessarily confessing anything at the dinner, but will their future actions be impact? And the film follows the course of him trying to find out whether it's his wife or whether it's one of these other people. Including Reggie Jane Page, who was the Bridgerton star a few years back, and of course Naomi Harris has been much better now. She's got away from that Bond thing, but she hasn't got very far away from Bond. It's a film made with immense class, like everything about it, particularly the performances and the characterizations and the script. Very funny and witty at times. Not even like a black comedy, but actually pretty amusing in their backwards and forwards. And there's a lot of talk about them, being cheats and reprobates and abused by the job that they have to be like these incredibly good liars, and how do they not use that in their personal lives and so on. And in the background the whole time you've got this devoted marriage between Fassbender and Cate Blanchett, where they seem to rise above all of the petty squabbling of their compadres in the intelligence community, and no one trusts them because of it. And it's a really good film. It is a really good film. It's got a great sort of flow through as a whodunit. The main thing is working out whether or not Cate Blanchett did it. I thought that the way that they handled that was actually more interesting, and the way that the final resolution wasn't all based around her, but it was based around them as a couple, and their actions to try and sort of get out from under everything that was happening. I thought was a massive bonus. There are flaws for me in this film, which is basically that the credibility of the motivation is a big factor, and a lot of people act in manners which aren't that credible. I thought that it was a bit eye-rolling, some of the things that they were doing, and you're asking yourself why, given that they spend so much time methodically building up these characters to be believable. And there's quite a fair bit of stuff in there that isn't believable, and it's also a little bit superficial. I adored the two leads, but I thought all of the characters were fairly superficially drawn, and that their actions didn't really rate up to being something that was as credible. But beautifully shot, soundtracked once again by David Holmes, who was the guy that kind of helped Steven Soderbergh foment his style with the music to Ocean's 11 and to Out of Sight being so cool. He's back again. It's shot really well, acted really well, great script. It's only an hour and a half long, so it's a very entertaining hour and a half. I thought it was an excellent film, not quite up there in the sort of tonality of something like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, where everything sort of feels like it means a lot. I don't know if it ever achieves that, but it's top quality entertainment. So I'm going to give Black Bag an 8 out of 10 before my voice completely goes.